What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including CM Punk threatened to quit AEW and he almost walked out, AEW talent's unhappy, there's a lot of backstage drama in AEW, the full list of released WWE talent, Alexa Bliss wants to debut a new character, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. And now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at CM Punk threatening to quit AEW and almost walking out. Our top story today examines the bizarre story in relation to CM Punk apparently threatening to quit AEW. Punk hit headlines this week after it was reported that the reigning AEW World Champion went off script on Dynamite. Now for some context, Punk called out Hangman Adam Page on the show, but it wasn't in the initial script. Punk had an issue with Hangman after the two had a disagreement in relation to the same promo material leading up to their Double or Nothing match. This ultimately led to Punk outright refusing to lose to Hangman. Fightful Select is claiming that Punk is so unhappy with AEW that he almost decided to no-show Dynamite. The belief amongst AEW talent is that Punk believes that Hangman went into business for himself during the aforementioned promo exchange, and Punk's unplanned promo on August 17th was a receipt. Sources close to the situation claim that Punk has expressed his displeasure recently, as a Fightful Select report adds that one veteran in AEW has claimed that threats have been levied in relation to Punk even walking out of the company. We almost had a Punk walkout 2.0. But this is a lot to process, and fans were under the impression that Punk was perfectly happy in Tony Khan's promotion, but that clearly isn't the case. Punk is clearly annoyed with Hangman, and this annoyance is so severe that Punk is making threats to leave the company. Hangman is said to be rather well liked backstage, so it seems that most AEW talent will naturally side with Hangman Adam Page. As many fans know, Punk infamously walked out of WWE back in 2014, and it looks like we're facing a similar situation here. It's got us thinking, is Punk the problem and not the promotion? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, more AEW talents unhappy. Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison, collectively known as Varsity Blondes, have joined the ever-growing list of AEW talent who are disgruntled. During the August 17th episode of AEW Dynamite, the two stars were squashed in just 30 seconds by the Gun Club. Garrison would react to the squash by tweeting, "Frustrated." His partner Pillman Jr. was also using social media to share his frustrations as he began to retweet posts criticizing how the tag team were being used in AEW. AEW talents Miro and Andrade previously used social media in a similar manner to share their displeasure. It looks like the honeymoon period for AEW is officially over, and they actively need to work on making sure that their talent are actually happy. It's a terrible look for Tony Khan's promotion that talent are actively tweeting negative thoughts about how the company is being run. And there's more problems, as there seems to be a lot of backstage drama in AEW. Now, whilst we're on the subject of AEW, according to Dave Meltzer in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, there's backstage drama in AEW and it's getting considerably worse. Meltzer stated, "Right now there's a ton of backstage drama involving many of the top guys that has gotten much worse in recent weeks. There's a part of me where I just think Tony Khan needs to sit everyone down and air everything out before it gets worse." The big thing that started all this is that Colt Cabana is not in the Dark Order with no angle and stopped being brought to television. He was going to be cut, but Khan signed him for Ring of Honor. This is the real catalyst of everything, although different people have different stories as to why it happened, including Page and Punk. But even if that didn't happen, it was probably going to happen for something else, just given the nature of different personalities involved. It feels like a number of people are close to their breaking point if things don't get settled. Do you think the honeymoon is over in AEW? Do you think some of these talents will actually go over to the WWE? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, the full list of released WWE talent. Yesterday was an unfortunate day for a number of NXT UK talents, as following the announcement that NXT UK would become NXT Europe, they decided to cut loose a strong portion of the established NXT roster. The confirmed names that have been released are Mark Andrews, Zaya Brookside, Eddie Dennis, Saxton Huxley, Amir Jordan, Danny Luna, Dave Mastiff, Millie McKenzie, Primate, Nina Samuels, Shay Samuels, Sid Scala, Trent Seven, Ashton Smith, Jack Stars, T-Bone, Tioman, Flash Morgan Webster, and Kenny Williams. Perhaps the most surprising name on the list is Trent Seven. Seven was a top star in NXT UK and even had a great run on the USA version. But the final number of released talent comes to 23, which is huge. Next up, WWE lifts embargo on employees trading stock. Following Vince McMahon's hush money scandal, WWE placed an embargo on employees purchasing stock until the McMahon investigation had concluded. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE has now lifted the embargo. It's unknown if that means the McMahon investigation has come to a close, or WWE have just decided to conduct the investigation without impacting anyone's buying power. Next up, the SummerSlam 2023 location been revealed. According to WrestleVotes on Twitter, WWE were delighted how Nashville turned out as the host city for this year's SummerSlam, and they could be looking to return to the city next year. The account tweeted, "Sources state WWE was beyond thrilled with how Nashville turned out as a host city for SummerSlam a few weeks back. The city is on the shortlist to host the event again next year. Decision expected early in 2023. Next up, Alexa Bliss wants to debut a new character. Since Alexa Bliss's return to television, she's been playing a character that is basically a hybrid of her supernatural persona and her goddess persona. However, there have been calls for Bliss to debut a brand new character, and these calls have also been supported by Bliss herself. Speaking on the MacMania podcast, she discussed her desire to debut a brand new character on screen. The former women's champion stated, "There's a version of me that I'm dying to get to see, that I'm dying to get to do. It just hasn't gotten there yet. I saw the collage. I tried to stay off Twitter unless I'm complaining about something. I saw this collage of all these different characters I've been in WWE, and I was like, man, I've been like 9 different people. If you look at it from my start to now, there have been 9 different versions of how I look, how I act, how I speak. Right now, it's just me. There's been something that I've been working on for quite a while that I really want to get out there. It's just finding the right time, what the roster needs right now. It's all about timing. For right now, it's kind of just me doing my thing with Asuka, which is a lot of fun. Like I always say, Lexi is not for TV. I'm boring as a person. I feel on TV right now I'm boring, so I'm trying to regroup and reorganize things and get to where I want to be character-wise for sure. What are your thoughts on Bliss's current persona? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Kairi Sane tests positive for COVID-19. And unfortunately, former NXT Women's Champion Kairi Sane has tested positive for COVID-19. Stardom announced that Sane will miss the upcoming Stardom X Stardom pay-per-view due to poor physical condition. Sane took to Twitter to release a statement confirming her COVID status and tweeted, "This time when I had a high fever at 39 degrees, I was tested and was diagnosed as positive for the new coronavirus. So far, the chase for the title match on August 21st, intensive training, condition adjustment, meal management, etc. are prepared meticulously. In fact, I was very careful about the measures as much as possible. I'm shocked and full of regret. We apologize for the great concern and inconvenience for all concerned. I apologize from the bottom of my heart, and for the fans who were looking forward to the match, dear fans, I'm sorry. Now, as soon as possible, I will deliver a healthy figure to everyone while keeping in touch with the public health center so that I will concentrate on recuperating at home. Please take care of yourself. I wish Kairi Sane a fast and full recovery." And finally, MJF returning to AEW. Our final story today examines a new report that indicates that MJF is on his way back to AEW. He hasn't been seen in AEW since he cut a pipe bomb promo in June, and this was at one point the talking point of the wrestling world, but it's been a rather busy few months with major news stories breaking virtually just every week. Nevertheless, MJF was said to be extremely disgruntled with the company and had animosity towards AEW president Tony Khan. However, it looks like MJF is finally ready to return to AEW, at least according to Dave Meltzer during the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer. MJF is currently scheduled to be returning somewhat soon. We don't know the exact time, but the negotiations for a new TV deal will likely be taking place starting in just a few months and into the spring, so the TV ratings numbers probably September to whenever the deal is closed are the most important to date, so this recent drop is the worst time to have a drop. Now, MJF remains under AEW contract until 2024, and whilst rumours have circulated that he wants to join WWE, it simply isn't possible at this stage. It's unknown what AEW's plans are for MJF. If he's returning, that means that a creative plan must have been put in place, and MJF is satisfied with how his return is going to be handled. There is some speculation, predominantly from online fans, that MJF will be inserted into the world title scene, and this seems like a fitting comeback story for one of AEW's brightest stars. But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumours you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.